LinkedIn is important. You know that. In this video, I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to make a case for why LinkedIn should probably be a part of your social media strategy in 2020 and beyond. On this channel, I talk about LinkedIn, Instagram, personal branding, and other social media platforms. A lot of practical advice to looking good online. If these topics interest you, I'd love for you to stick around. Consider subscribing or hitting that bell to be notified when I post next. Now, let's discuss why LinkedIn is important. Today I'm in Cabo, and the question comes from Santiago, who asks, Phil, how can I make my profile attractive? Should I be active on LinkedIn? These are great questions, Santiago. With more than 260 million active monthly users, LinkedIn is an important place to be. You can look for jobs, that's obvious, but you can also build your brand, rank your name on Google, keep in touch with important people, and so much more beyond just finding a job. Let's discuss that in a second. First, if you're looking to update your profile and develop a strategy to improve your efforts on LinkedIn, check out my freebie, LinkedIn Tips for Beginners. That's linked below as well, and I think you'll like it. Why is LinkedIn important? I've got 4 reasons for you, mentioned a second ago, but now we're going to go in more detail. Reason number 1, job opportunities. If you're someone who's looking for a job, you already know this. You're probably already spending a lot of time on LinkedIn. However, if you're employed or maybe you own your own business, LinkedIn is probably not the first place that you're spending your time. In fact, it might even be an afterthought compared to the time that you're spending on other social media platforms. Even if you're not looking for a job, it's important to have an optimized, completed LinkedIn profile. Your profile shouldn't just contain text copied and pasted from your old resume a few months ago. You should also probably log in more than just a few times each month. For those looking for a job, it's incredible to have exposure to hiring managers and recruiters. And even now, you can apply for jobs directly on LinkedIn. For those of you not looking for a job, maybe those of you who own a business, like me, LinkedIn can mean client opportunities. And I'll talk about that shortly, how you can use this as a research tool, as a way to stay in touch with important contacts. Here's a friendly and important reminder. 44% of LinkedIn users have a take-home salary of more than $75,000 per year. Significantly higher than other social media platforms. So if you want the source, I've cited that down below. I know that a few people will ask about that. It's down below. When it comes to social media, it's safe to say this is where the money is at. So you might want to be here as well. Next reason. Reason number 2, building your brand. I talk a lot about that here on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. As a brand strategist, I'm constantly sharing ways that you can position, build, and promote your brand. And I spend my days myself working on client projects. Clients are all over the world. LinkedIn is an amazing way to build your brand, both inside the platform itself as well as outside, and I'll explain. Inside LinkedIn, this is where you can showcase your reputation or social proof. What do I mean by those? Built-in features on this platform enable you to display endorsements or recommendations from others directly on your profile. So let's say someone is thinking about hiring you for a position or hiring your agency to render a service. They can go to your LinkedIn profile, and if you've requested written recommendations from others and they've given them to you, those people can read those or simply look at how others have endorsed your skills. For example, I've had over 99 people endorse social media strategy, which is a good thing, especially if someone's looking to hire me for that skill. Also, I mentioned outside of LinkedIn. Let's talk about that for a second. What do I mean by that when it comes to building your brand? Ranking your name in Google. If you apply for a job, one of the first things that an employer might do is type your name into Google and see what comes up. If you've never Googled your name before, now is a great time to do that. Open up a second tab while you're watching this video and type your name into Google and see what pops up on the first page of the results. It wouldn't be fair for me to tell you to do this without me doing it as well. So I'm going to open up a second browser, type my name into Google, and let's see what comes up. Look at that. So one of the first results is my LinkedIn profile. One is my website, which is good. That also appears. That's not necessarily the case for everyone. LinkedIn is a well-known platform, so it can often rank before someone's own website, a website that they've made themselves, for example, or maybe it's new. Purely based on SEO and the number of backlinks, LinkedIn can be one of the first things that shows up because of credibility. LinkedIn is a huge website, and so that gets, you should be prioritizing your LinkedIn profile almost like you would prioritize creating your own website. Arguably, it's just as important. Now let's move on to reason number 3, research. I believe that there are 3 things that you can be researching on LinkedIn. The first, companies. Companies often maintain their own LinkedIn profiles and pages, and this is where you'll see them update company information, company news, maybe insights, job postings, stats, and the list goes on. If you're thinking about working with this particular company, I would definitely head over to LinkedIn to see what they're up to. It's a good place to do some initial research as well. LinkedIn is also a great place for entrepreneurs and business owners to research competitors, like brands, and brand heroes. Competitors, direct and indirect, are people that are competing for business with you. Like brands are people who do something similar to what you do, but maybe in a different area, so they're not necessarily a threat to your own business. Finally, brand heroes are people that maybe got their start a few years earlier than you and have a bigger brand or a bigger business, and maybe that inspires you. Now, know that I talk about these 3 groups of people in another video called Top 5 Twitter Tips. Yes, this video that I will link to over here is all about Twitter, but I still think you're going to find it useful in this application, so definitely check that out. Finally, you can be researching industry news, right? There are news updates that you'll see from other connections, maybe groups that you've joined on LinkedIn, which can be a great way to stay updated on your industry, or even if you're working for a big company, follow that page and see what they're publishing. This is definitely the advantage to logging in more than once a month to LinkedIn to see what's happening, the ability to learn from others, what they're posting and what they're interacting with. Finally, let's move on to reason number 4, community. LinkedIn is incredibly important for staying on the radar of people that you know. I would argue that LinkedIn has replaced the old way of maintaining business contacts, like keeping a stack of business cards handy at your desk or adding someone information into an address book or a Rolodex. That is old school. New school? LinkedIn. And that's why it's important to be active on this platform, engaging and creating content as well. It's important for building community to stay on the radars of people that you know, also people that you don't know. This is where LinkedIn groups come in handy, as well as posts that others publish or posts from people that you don't know, but some of your contacts are interacting with that might put a stranger's post onto your news feed. I get it. LinkedIn might not be as fun as other social media platforms like Instagram. I totally agree, but there's an upside. Logging into this platform, being active and building community, at least making an effort, is so much better than having to show up to events and networking events in person. With everything happening in the world, we're definitely seeing a move toward digital or virtual gatherings or meetings, etc. And LinkedIn is a place where a lot of that action is going to happen. So that's why I think LinkedIn is important. Now, I've given you my 4 reasons. Now I want to hear from you. How do you plan to use LinkedIn to find jobs, to build your brand, to stay on the radars of people you know or people you don't know? I'd love to know what you're thinking. Comment below. Let's continue the conversation down there. Know that I keep an eye on those comments personally, and I'll do my best to reply and engage with you. If you found this video helpful, I would appreciate a like. Consider subscribing for more of my videos here on YouTube on social media strategy, brand building, practical advice to look good online. I've talked about why it's important. Next, I'm going to talk about how you can make some really impactful updates to your profile. I'm Phil Pallen. Thanks for watching, and that video is coming up next.